So I just watched The Gorge and I'm conflicted, but I really liked it. If you haven't seen The Gorge, this video is going to have spoilers, so I suggest watching it first and then coming back to this video. So I went into The Gorge expecting a typical sci-fi action movie with a romance angle and a dash of horror, and after watching it, I can confidently say that's exactly what we got. I had a lot of fun with it actually. The film has some random shifts in what kind of movie it's trying to be, starting with a slightly covert military vibe, then transitioning into a romance, and later unfolding as an undercover science mystery with action and strange creatures. Don't get me wrong, this is where it gets slightly conflicting for me, not a lot. From a filmmaking standpoint, the movie has elements from other films mixed in, so in theory, it should lose itself in its own lore and production and execution. But surprisingly, it doesn't. At least not in the way that makes you want to shut off the movie completely. The Gorge manages to be so fun that I've watched it over about 5 times already. I truly think Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller were the perfect cast for Jossa and Levi. Their on-screen chemistry is phenomenal, and you can tell when actors are genuinely having fun on set. So these two are no exception to that. With that being said, here's your second and final warning for spoilers. I'm about to do a quick recap of the film and share my final thoughts on what I think it means and what it gives to the viewer. The Gorge, released this year in 2025, directed by Scott Derrickson, is a sci-fi action romance starring Miles Teller, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Sigourney Weaver. The story follows two elite snipers, Levi Kane and Jossa, stationed on opposite sides of a deep, mysterious gorge for about a year, tasked with guarding it without contact with each other or the outside world. And they soon discover that the gorge hides terrifying secrets, and their mission is much more than it actually seems. Levi, a former US Marine sniper turned private contractor, is haunted by the guilt of killing in combat. Jossa, a covert Lithuanian operative, is struggling with her father's terminal cancer and has planned to commit suicide on Valentine's Day. After Levi arrives, his predecessor warns him about automated defenses, cloaking antennas, and the mutated creatures known as the Hollow Men. He also mentions the stray dog protocol, which triggers a nuclear sterilization if things go wrong. When Jossa breaks the communication rule to reach out, the two form a bond, playing games and defending their posts from the Hollow Men and even defending each other at times. 6 months in, they grow closer than ever, and Levi attempts to visit Jossa's side since they make dinner plans. They spend a great night together, and Levi further shows his romantic side to Jossa, and to him, her caring side even more. The following morning, while attempting to go back, a mine explosion sends Levi plummeting into the gorge, leading Jossa to parachute in to rescue him, which was kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie. They discover that everything inside the gorge has been cross-mutated due to a World War II bioweapons research lab, abandoned after a contaminant leak. The lab is now controlled by the private defense corporation Dark Lake, which hopes to use the research to create super soldiers. Levi and Jossa learn about the stray dog protocol designed to destroy the site with a nuclear detonation. They agree to activate it to stop the dangerous research from spreading. After fighting off more Hollow Men, they trigger the protocol, destroying the site and killing their handler Bartholomew, played by Sigourney Weaver, and her soldiers in the process. Jossa follows through with a 5-day quarantine plan made with Levi, then heads to France to wait for him. A month later, she's working in a restaurant when Levi walks in. He asks for a rabbit pie and they share a kiss, finally reunited. When I think about this film at this current moment, I truly resonate with 3 underlying themes that many may have missed, but I caught them during my watch time. Those 3 themes being isolation and connection, the second being love and sacrifice, and the last one being guilt and redemption. These don't come in any particular order, these are more or less just the way my thoughts unraveled. The first theme we see explored in The Gorge is the tension between isolation and connection. From the moment Levi and Joss are introduced, they are physically isolated into their own corners of the gorge, cut off from the world around them. And this isolation isn't just about being alone in the wilderness, it's actually emotional too. Levi is haunted by the weight of his past actions and is reluctant to connect with pretty much anybody. Jossa is dealing with the impending death of her father and someone she can't save, which adds a layer of emotional isolation too. But what's beautiful here is that despite the rules prohibiting contact, these two characters find a way to reach out to each other. What starts as a quiet exchange of signs, written notes, simple gestures slowly blossoms into something deeper, and the film shows how the most intense connections are sometimes born from the most extreme circumstances. They go from playing chess and making music to defending each other against literal monsters. The Gorge may be isolating, but their need for human connection transcends that physical separation. Their growing bond highlights that even in the most desolate places, humans will find a way to connect, whether it's through words, actions, or even just shared silence. And sometimes it's that connection that becomes the driving force for survival. Isolation may have been the starting point, but it's the connection that truly defines them. In the end, it's not just about survival, it's about finding someone to share that survival with. Now, let's talk about the theme of love and sacrifice. As their connection deepens, it moves from a mere romantic interest to something much more meaningful, love rooted in sacrifice. The real depth of their bond is revealed through their actions, especially the tough choices they make to ensure the safety of the world and their relationship. When Levi and Jossa decide to trigger the stray dog protocol to destroy the bioweapons research site, it's not just a strategic move, it's an act of ultimate sacrifice. Both are giving up any chance of personal happiness or safety to do what's right. The love they share becomes something more profound than just romance. It's about doing something for the greater good, even when the cost is their own well-being. What makes this love so compelling is that it's tested in the most extreme way possible. They're not just sacrificing themselves, they're sacrificing any chance of a future together. They could easily have ran away, protected themselves, and built a life together like how Jossa mentioned, but instead they choose to act, to confront the horror in the Gorge and to stop Dark Lake's twisted ambitions. Even Levi's poem, which he writes for Jossa, serves as a kind of sacrificial love letter. In it, he's giving her something deeply personal in case he doesn't make it out. It's a love rooted in both their emotional vulnerability and the willingness to let go for the cause that's bigger than them. Their connection is more than just romance, it's about sacrifice, sacrificing their safety, their peace, and even their future, all in the name of love and doing what's right. In my opinion, the last and probably the most compelling aspect of the Gorge is guilt and redemption, most importantly revolving around Levi's journey with guilt and redemption. From the start, Levi is a man burdened with his past, broken. As a former Marine sniper, he's taken lives, and the weight of those actions haunts him in every moment. This guilt creates an emotional wall between him and everyone around him. He's the kind of person who has had a hard time letting people in because he feels he doesn't deserve this connection or the peace. However, his time in the Gorge, and more importantly his connection with Jossa, becomes his path toward redemption. It's not about erasing the past or just pretending it didn't happen, it's about confronting it head on, full speed. When faced with a chance to make a difference in the world, Levi takes it, and it's through his actions that he begins to redeem himself over time. The ultimate redemption comes when he chooses to start the Stray Dog Protocol, and I may sound like a broken record, but it is a key moment in the film that connects a couple of these themes. Accepting the fact that his actions, whether saving Jossa or the world, are his way of making amends for his past, of making peace within himself. What's fascinating here is that Levi doesn't need to be forgiven by anyone but himself. The film shows that redemption isn't about being absolved of past wrongs, but about the courage to do right in the present, even when it costs everything. Levi's redemption isn't about erasing his past, it's about confronting it. And in his final act, he doesn't just save Jossa or the world, he saves himself from the weight of his own guilt. In the end, the themes of the Gorge being isolation and connection, love and sacrifice, and guilt and redemption are what truly elevate the film beyond a traditional sci-fi action story. They give the characters depth and the audience something meaningful to connect with. These themes explore the human experience in its rawest form, the struggle to find connection, the painful choices we have to make for love, and the ongoing battle to redeem ourselves in the face of our past mistakes. And that's what makes The Gorge so impactful. This isn't just a movie about a gorge and monstrous creatures, even though on my first watch, that was my initial thought. It's about finding hope in the darkest places, making sacrifices for what we love, and doing the hard work of redemption. And that's why for me, this film resonated so deeply. In the end, The Gorge is about more than just surviving the horrors of the Gorge. It's about surviving ourselves and finding the courage to love, sacrifice, and redeem. Hey guys, thanks for watching the first ever video on my channel. I really do appreciate it if you made it to the end. If you did enjoy this video, I would appreciate it if you subscribe and hit the like button and share, all the fancy nooks and crannies. If you did enjoy this and you have your own opinion on The Gorge or even just movies in general, please comment down below. I would love more than anything to be able to discuss stuff with you guys. But yeah, welcome to the channel and I appreciate you for taking the time.